Okay. Okay, so we are recording. We're in action. So, hello everybody, and happy spring. Although our weather has been a little bit cooler, I feel like we had sort of fake spring a couple weeks ago, and but I think it's coming back. So I just wanted to start off by saying thanks for making time for this call. Some of you I know have already probably been on a lot of Zoom calls already today, and this is just sort of one more. Hopefully this one's going to be a little bit more fun for you. And anybody that's just joining, they are all coming in hot right now. So to start with, I think what we're going to do is I'm just going to roll through the team members. They're just going to do a quick little intro and share a little bit of something that they're excited, what's motivating them to train this clinic. And then we're going to roll from there. So Anthony, if you want to kick us off.
I'll kick us off, you bet. So yeah, welcome everybody. I'm looking forward to the spring clinic and the spring weather. I'm done with that snow. That snowstorm I hit you yesterday when I saw you online there, Renee, was pretty funny. Hi everybody, I'm Anthony. Yeah, so what I'm looking forward to, last year I registered for my first non-pace race. So I'm big on the pace stuff. Renee's events are second to none. I wanted to try a new location. So I signed up for the Minotaur, which is on Blairmore, Alberta, out on the East Kootenays, basically. And so that's deferred for this year, and I'm still going to go through with it. So I've got a buddy that I've never done a race with before, and we're both signed up. And so that's the one I'm got on the shelf that I'm looking forward to. It's about 32K, but it's about 3,000 meters of elevation. So it's about the climbing. And so I know the pace training is going to pay off for me that day. So
nice.
That's what I got looking forward to.
That sounds cool. Yeah, you bet.
I'll hand it over to Ben.
Awesome. Thanks, Anthony. Ben here. Hey, as far as outlook this year, Tom, one of the other fellow leaders, and I are signed up as a team for the Broken Goat, or the Broken Goats, or however we want to say it. So I'm really looking forward to using the Rendezvous and the High Five as training for that, and really kind of laying it out there over the 3 days in Rossland.
Nice.
Really, yeah. So on that, over to Haley.
Is Haley on here? She might not be in here.
Okay, if not, then Janine.
Hi, I'm looking forward to two. I don't normally get to do the races. I'm usually helping out Renee with the races. So I'm excited to do the Rendezvous 135 and the High Five. And I would say what's motivating me is all of the clinic participants that have been nailing their training over the last couple of months. So I feel like I need to keep up. So that's been motivating me. So thanks.
Awesome.
Who's next?
Hi, this is Kevin Matrosovs, Kevin M. It'd be good to see everyone when we can. I had a few events this year, actually events last year, and they all got deferred to this year. Now they're all getting deferred again to next year. So I don't know if I really have specific training, though I still have an adventure race that hasn't been deferred yet. We'll see if that happens, fingers crossed. But yeah, looking forward to keeping fit and getting out and enjoying the fresh air with some people when we can.
Nice.
And over to
Kevin Siggers here, Kevin S. So I'm also doing the 135, looking forward to that. I don't think I really realized what I was signing up for when I signed up for the 135, but it will be a good training run for I'm doing the 3-day Broken Goat as well. So I have my partner with Lucy, and we're gonna probably beat Tom and Ben by quite a bit.
Oh!
Nicole?
On that note, I'm Nicole. Super stoked about the Rendezvous. Have never done a running stage race before. I've done multiple biking stage races, so super excited about doing my first running stage race. And also excited about planning my own route, because usually when I sign up for these stage races, like the route is planned, you show up and you just, go where they tell you to go. So that's an extra challenge. And then hoping to do the Golden Ultra in September, and then hopefully the rim to rim to rim in the Grand Canyon in October.
Very cool. Right on. Nice.
Hi everyone, I'm Steve. I'm really excited for the Rendezvous as well. I actually just did the spreadsheet today to sort of figure out my route planning on what days I'm going to do what. And I'm hoping to do the Buck Me, This Goat is Knackered challenge, which is the Buck and Hell, Knee-Knacker, and of course the Broken Goat, all three ultras weekend. So we'll see if that happens. It was all deferred last year, obviously, so that's what I'm looking forward to, and I'm motivated by all of you.
Awesome.
And on to, is Stephanie here tonight or no?
No, she's not. She's got to work tonight.
All right.
Yeah.
And that means
Tara?
we're on to Tara.
I am Tara. I'm most looking forward to the Broken Goat weekend. I'm just doing the 25K, but I think it'd be great to see how people do with the stage race. So yeah, that's the thing I'm most excited for.
Nice. Sorry, I'm multitasking people trying to get in with my bad link.
I think
Awesome,
it's
Tara.
Tom.
Great. Trent or Tom? I don't remember.
Hi, I'm Trent. Not so much for events this year. I'm going to do the high five. I think what's exciting about that is planning maybe 5 different climbing days within a week. So that should be exciting. But Renee and I bought a bunch of bike packing gear this last year. So I think I'm excited to try something completely new. I've always been an avid cyclist, but I've never really bike packed. So we just bought a bunch of shit and we're going to start riding.
Yes, we are.
Cool.
I think it's Tom next.
Yeah, I'm next, and there's my name at the bottom, so you can read that. Yeah, I like Tara's comment. I'm interested in seeing how the Broken Goat three-day stage race goes for people. So I'm going to go in it with Ben, keep the bromance alive, and just so Kevin knows, we don't care if you beat us. We're in it for each other. That's all. That's our goal.
You just keep telling yourself that. That's fine.
Thanks everybody for being here. Look forward to the excitement.
Nice. Well, that good intros there, team. So you can tell even among the team, we're going to talk about this as well with everybody else, that there is a lot of diversity in goals, hence the training plans, and in discussions with some people and me taking a look at things in stages. I think I'm going to be adding another 3 or 4 on there. So we're going to get to that in just a moment. Let's talk a little bit about the participants. I'm going to save some of those intros for the end of the call. So those of you that have time and would like to stay on the call afterwards, and particularly some of the new people, if you want to introduce yourself, and we can just sort of have a social conversation at the end. We do have 65 clinic participants this spring. 10 are on our virtual platform. So some of them, like I mentioned in my video, are in town. Some of them are out of town. There's a bit of a diversity there. Out of town, we've got Catherine from Caledon, Mark from North Vancouver, Petra from Squamish. She has recruited a couple amazing friends, Chandra and Jason. They're from Squamish as well, so there's a bit of a contingency down there. Sarah from Port Coquitlam, Aaron from Salmon Arm, Tom Craig, he commutes from Vernon as well. We've got Dawn from Calgary, let me see, and Jessie from Penticton. And we've got Nikki Williams, who's also, she's from Kelowna and she's new to PACE. So this is really exciting. Did I miss anybody from out of town or that's brand new to PACE on that? No, okay, we're gonna circle back to some of that. But I do want to acknowledge that one of the things I'm genuinely the most proud about when I speak about PACE is how inclusive it is. And I know that for anyone that's new to PACE and that's just joining us, we can all think back. For some people, it's probably up to 15 years now, but we've got lots of great anniversaries this year. But how unnerving it is to sort of still join a new group and a new crowd and wonder what that's going to feel like and how it's going to work and how we'll fit in. And so, yeah, we just want to make everybody feel really, really welcome tonight and throughout the clinic. We're going to take the next 12 weeks to get to know each other better. And certainly through social media in particular has been a really great way for us to do some of that. So let's just review a few things. In particular, I think just with the communications, and if there's anybody that's not quite set up on the communications on any of these things that I'm going over, you're like, what's that? I haven't gotten that yet. Just send me an email after the call tonight so I can make sure that I get you hooked up. Last clinic, Hannah did sort of a printable PDF, and it's just kind of a handy little thing that gives you sort of a short list and a bit of a reference. Some of you I know, I think there's only maybe 2 or 3 of you that aren't on Facebook, and Facebook is not mandatory for this clinic. That said, Facebook is where we post our book club events. We have live watch, music trivia videos, and giveaways. Obviously, it's a very social community and social platform to get to know people. I also know some of you that don't have a personal account. You've given me your spouse's name and we've added your spouse to the clinic. So if you want to have that option so you can check in. However, we don't want you to feel any pressure. You're not going to miss any like tangible training information. The biggest thing that you probably miss is just our Facebook Live music trivia, which might be worth having Facebook, depending who you ask on its own. So the website is basically going to be your go-to for all info. So if you're actually just like, where is the thing? Go to the website, check out the categories. It'll usually take you to the other places that you need to go to. Okay. And that's where you use the login, which is Mountaintop, all caps. So hopefully you've all been in there and seen some of that information and slowly getting up to speed. The weekly video obviously is very important. So usually it's Monday mornings that I send out the weekly video. You'll start to kind of get the jam of that, the focus of that. So it's really important that you guys watch that because it holds a lot of information for the week. Let's see, the Google Accountability Doc is also sort of the big one. This is where we'll be signing up for runs. This is where you put your checklists. If you want to participate in that part of the program, it's also optional. And this is where, obviously, if you've done your mobility challenges, I've got some core workouts and things planned for this clinic. This is where you would go to do those. I'm sure all of you have already done your hip mobility work from today already, right? I'm going to be doing it after the call. We also put things like playlists and recipes and things on that Google document as well. The Google Calendar is where it's going to break down, in particular, the Wednesday speed workouts and any locations that we have for the upcoming group runs. And the email is just simply going to be one link that just says, take me to the website. It's going to take you there, and hopefully in order, you're going to see all of those topics every single week to make it easy. If you want to go back, by the time we're in week 7, and you're trying to find that hip mobility workout from week 1 because your hips are a little tight from all the vert that we're going to be doing, then you can go to the categories and you click on performance and it'll take you into those videos. Okay, so hopefully that's pretty mainstream. Obviously, the one thing we need to talk about are the recent provincial health orders that were put in place today. And unfortunately, that does mean that our group workouts are put on hold for the next 3 weeks for those of you that are in Kelowna, and we're looking forward to those. I know that a lot of you are just as disappointed as the team and I are to be missing out on that. But you know what, you guys, I know that we can dig deep. I know that we can continue to support you. The team is prepared to do what we can and to support one another and help you guys with your goals still. And let's rally. And we're pretty good here at PACE at being stronger than our excuses. And getting in touch with our goals, like I talked about in the video this morning, is going to be really the key thing in particular over the next 3 weeks to sort of help keep us on track. So let's continue to be grateful for community and the tools and the resources that we have within this group to wake up tomorrow and to get up and to do the work. And like one of our focuses for this clinic, which is to recommit to the work. Okay, so I'm going to skip this section on the group versus solo runs until April 19th when we hear what the next order comes out with, and then we'll sort of pick up on that then. I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the programming, the training, and in particular, those sort of different, again, the variations that we have from people and the different goals that we have right now within our clinics. And so those of you that I want to speak to, first of all, that are joining us that didn't do the winter clinic and or that fall under a category of returning from injury or starting off this clinic and thinking that it's going to be more of a base building clinic for you, opposed to we're sort of in season training for those that have done the base building. I don't want there to feel any necessarily divides with everybody. We can all accommodate and help each other, and which is why your goals and your way is another big part of this clinic. But I do think that some considerations, and I wanted you to hear it from me, is if you haven't been doing any speed workouts, so if you've been skiing and you've been biking and you've been cross training, you've been going for, you know, the odd run here and there, depending where you're at, A lot of the zone 4 work that we have that we're kicking this clinic off with, I really think that some of you should just be keeping that into your zone 3 to start with for the first 6 weeks at a minimum. And you might want to dial down some of the volume. So I did speak to that in the video, the Wednesday workout video this week, and I'll continue to do that and sort of give you some recommendations and some guidelines on that, okay? The other thing to consider is when you're doing your workouts on Wednesday, so the 25K group, your total workout duration should always be right around 75 minutes. Okay, and the 50K, you should always be somewhere around 90 minutes. So that might mean in this clinic that you have to adapt your cool down, for example. So if you head out, you're in the 50K and you do a 30-minute warm up, and by the time you get through the workout, if that workout was more than 30 minutes, maybe you're reducing your cool down to 25 so that you stay within that full 90 minutes. Did I do the math right on that? Yeah, and vice versa for the 25K. So I think it can be really, really easy. And because the volume or the programs right now in particular, whether you're now base building again, but in particular, if you are starting to add a lot of volume, and I know a lot of you, this is new territory for a lot of people, you can't keep going over. So I really want you guys to try to keep that speed session in particular tight. Okay, that's not the night that I want you guys to now leak into, 145, 2-hour sessions. We're not going to do that this clinic, okay? So just to quickly review the 3 focus areas for the clinic. So again, we're going to be driving home your goals your way. So there's so many people doing so many things all over the map. You're staying in touch with what's important to you, setting a goal, and then recommitting to the work. So tomorrow I'm going to add another 50K program for those that are rolling over and or just that are training for Broken 2 Goat specifically, that aren't maybe doing the Rendezvous 135 and or the Pace High 5. Does that make sense? If there's anybody else in terms of goals that I missed that are not doing one of the virtual clinics and not going into the Broken 2 Goat, let me know and I will write a 20th program. I am so loving the programs. I actually mean it. I want everybody to be successful. I want you to feel like I'm supporting your goals your way. And I'm really prepared to do that. I can't obviously do one-on-one clinics or one-on-one programs per se, but I can diversify a little bit more. And I want to make sure that you guys know all your goals are important and I want you all to feel supported. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to add those programs to the website tomorrow. If there's something else in there that you feel falls differently, just reach out to me and let me know, okay? The cornerstone of the training for this clinic is still to work on increasing that all-important aerobic base. 25K, 50K distances to multi-day events, they're all endurance-based goals. So it doesn't really matter how fast you go if you can't finish. Okay, so depending on specifically what your race goals are, unless you're going for podium or you're going for, specific race times, some of you, it might actually be more appropriate for you this spring, which I know this might be weird to think about doing, but to skip the speed session and replace that speed session with another 90-minute run or a 75-minute run. And in particular, if you're having a week where you're feeling a little overwhelmed in terms of fatigue or volume, or you're again, this is new to you, then, and your option is I'm either just gonna stay on the couch and not do the run, get off the couch and go out and do a hike, or get off the couch and go make that an easy run for you. Start it and see how you feel, because consistency is also really important. So I want to drive home that if you didn't do one speed session this clinic and you replaced every single one and made it endurance based, you're going to be okay. Okay, you're going to be okay. And in particular, if you find that you are not recovering well from those speed sessions, so the volume, remember, a lot of you, like I said, no matter what program you're following, if you're in new volume territory, okay, so if you're doing volumes that are new to you, it's going to take you a little bit more time probably to recover from those workouts. So if you're doing a Wednesday speed workout and you don't have the energy on the weekend to get in your long runs, that is another good reason why you should replace that speed workout right now, okay? The purpose also is to increase your work capacity and to improve fatigue resistance. And that's one of the things we're going to focus on. So this is why there's a lot of back-to-back sessions, obviously, in the people that are doing the stage races. I've also thrown in some of those challenges for those of you that are doing 50K distances or 25K distances, because it's still a great way to achieve that despite your long-term goal. Unlike the base period where you were always maybe a little bit too tired to perform at your best, so those of you that are just coming out of the last clinic, you should start to notice that you can carry over a little more of the volume easier now. Okay, so you should start to sort of recover a little bit better from those easier runs and those endurance sessions. You should start to have a few breakthrough sessions where you're starting to feel really, really strong. You're noticing the strength is starting to kick in. And remember, you guys, the base work really helped you prepare the additional work you're doing now and the additional intensity that you're doing now. So a lot of that is just trusting that you guys can handle it. Okay. I think it's pretty fair to say that exercising sporadically and randomly won't give you the best results. So again, consistency is still top of the line up there. Okay, so let's see, there's some principles I want you guys to sort of go over and sort of follow as carefully as possible. Again, one of them is maintaining consistency in your training routine. Gradually increasing your training load. I laughed at that in my video this morning because I think some of you looked at the program and thought there's anything but gradual in there, but it actually is. It's because you had a bigger base when you started this clinic. And to remember that I said this in the winter clinic, and some of this will resonate with those of you that have goals in July and August and Golden in September and those sorts of things, is always remember that depending on the goal you're working on, for example, you don't need to be Rendezvous 135 or Broken 2 Goat fit today. You need to be fit by the time that event comes. So don't get too excited and cool your jets and trust in the training program. You can't fake it. It takes time to get to where you need to go. And you can't just start cramming things in too much too soon, okay? So trust in the work you've done to prepare you to this point, or acknowledge where your baselines are right now and what kind of winter you're coming out of to assess what kind of programs you want right now. And then just try not to get sucked into only training the things that you're really good at or what you enjoy. Challenge yourself in new ways. And, you know, maybe think about what are some of your weaknesses? Do you know what those are? Some of you probably see zone 4 and just throw up in your mouth. You're like, no, I don't. Some of you might really love the short, quick speed and just roll your eyes at the thought of doing, you know, 2 to 5 minute flat intervals. So I think it's really good to start to sort of acknowledge we don't like doing the things that we suck at, but addressing those areas, you do start to see a shift in your training that can eventually deliver bigger results for you. So spend some time there, see if you can find some new answers this spring. Okay, so with the any questions to that point? I'm gonna go into the programs next. Okay, so there's no one size fits all approach to training for sure. And the programs that I write for this clinic, you guys all need to remember that they are just a guideline. They're in place for you to follow, but that you all need to be flexible. Okay, so the main message in the programs is to help you select appropriate weekly volumes at a controlled rate. That's essentially what I'm trying to help you guys with. Okay, so everyone might be a little bit different because there's only so many variables to cover in a group clinic format, which is why I've added additional programs this season. But the things that I want you to ask yourself tonight, right now, each of you, is what your starting point is. So volume wise, are you joining the clinic with a consistent 3 hours a week of running, 5 hours a week of running, 10 hours a week of running? And then the next question is speed work wise. So this is your goals, your way. Have you been doing any speed work? And if you haven't, you need to put yourself on the lane of recommendations from Coach R's video and not worry about maybe the people that aren't in that recommendation, okay? So both weekly total volume training, establish where you're at entering the clinic if you don't already know that, and how many times a week have you been running? So if you've had a great ski season and some of this nice spring weather is motivated you to jump on your bike a little bit more, maybe you've been out for the odd run here or there, you don't want to go from the odd 1 or 2 runs a week into suddenly following a program that runs 4 to 5 days a week. Okay, so same thing with your long run volume. You want to make sure that your starting point is appropriate for you. So don't try to fit you into the program. The program needs to be adjusted to fit you, and that's where the flexibility needs to come into play. Okay. The other thing is, if you need to take an extra day off, maybe your goals this spring. Oh, I know. Try to remember when you need to take a day off, and that remember that not everybody's goals this clinic are race focused. Some people might be doing bike goals, or they might just really want the social connection, and they might be like, I just want the motivation to get a good hard workout on Wednesday, get a little endurance and hit the forest a little longer than I would on my own on Sunday. But I'm busy, people, the other days of the week doing other things other than running. So, and maybe they're cross training other things. So it's just a good thing to keep that in mind. And then start to consider which program is best for you. Obviously taking your goals into consideration, which I encourage you guys to sit down and do this week. And then consider your life, work, and your training balance. And we talked a little bit about making your commitments realistic, okay? And then some of the key elements to maybe understand and follow is that we don't want to increase our weekly volume more than 10% each week. There's a little bit more flexibility depending on those of you that are maybe rolling over a few years of higher volume, or if you've been training similarly to this for a longer period of time, you know your body a lot better, you know where you can make allowances for that. But if these volumes are rather new to you, you want to err on the side of a little bit less is better than a little bit more in these programs. Keep in mind that let's say your daughter gets sick and you weren't able to do your 30-minute recovery run, or you got called into a meeting or what have you. Rather than just trying to blow that run off, try to think about where can you take that 30 minutes and put it somewhere else in the week if it's appropriate for you, because you're trying to be consistent with your volumes. And if you start to miss some of those things, you're going to need to then, this is where I talk about being flexible, adjust the schedule. If you have a couple of weeks where your volume drops, don't then just pick up on week 7 where you haven't done those 2-week builds and now you're suddenly running 14 hours that week and you just finished off on 9 type of thing. And you can reach out to me if you guys need help with that, but I wanted to just verbalize that. And then again, consistency with how many days per week you're running. So I recommend that if you guys aren't accustomed to this, to try to train by hours. That's how I've set the programs up, to track your distance, your elevation, and your time. And bear in mind that depending on what program you're following, it's very unlikely that you're trying to increase distance, time, and elevation every single week. It gets a little easier to do that with the more volume you have, but in the base building, I remember a lot of you probably realize that on a build week, maybe your distance actually stayed the same, but you saw a bump in your elevation. That is still considered a build. Okay, so the goal isn't to always just push all 3 of those elements up. You can run into overtraining or potentially injury that way as well, okay? I really think that those of you that are doing vertical specific goals, so Anthony, you mentioned very specifically, you know how much vertical that has. We know the Rendezvous, the Pace High 5 has this looming 5,000 meter number over our heads right now, those sorts of things. One thing that I want you to consider is know how much elevation is in your key events that are coming up, okay? And to start tracking that. So for example, if you run a 65-kilometer training week with 2,500 meters in it, and let's say it takes you 9 hours, start to do the math on that based on how that might factor into 135 kilometers with 5,000 meters. And it'll help give you a little bit of a benchmark. It should help build some confidence, because if you see that one of those numbers is a little bit low, it should motivate you to get on some hills if you need to get on some hills, or get on the distance and start training that leg turnover a little bit more, those sorts of things. But it should also help you just really build confidence, knowing that you're using those metrics to sort of build towards your goal. I wanted to give you guys an example because one of the questions I get quite often is, so for example, with the Transalpine run, if the race is 17,000 meters of climbing over 8 days, and we'll say 300 kilometers. Let's say that takes my partner and I 45 hours to run that. People ask me, well, what's your biggest running week? What's the biggest volume that you'll run in a week for something like that? And again, there's variance. The first year I did TAR, my biggest running week was 13 hours. By my 8th time, my biggest running week was over 20 hours because I built into that. But the point being is I didn't even run half of the volume in 1 week that it was going to take me in total to run those 8-day events. But I was either doing a 2 or a 3-week build. And if I was running, let's say 13, 14, 15 hours in those weeks, and you add those up, now that's almost 3/4 or the full distance of the Transalpine run over 3 weeks with maybe 5 days rest. Does that make sense? Or 6 days rest. So that's the purpose of this training, how we're doing this as well this spring. You'll notice that those of you that have trained with me for a while, I usually have our clinics on a 3-week build and a 1-week rest. And I've changed that this spring. I've put everybody on a 2-week build and a 1-week rest. So I'm sure some of you probably clued into that. And there's lots of pros to doing that for sure. And I think it's really gonna benefit everybody quite a lot. This, wait, I have some notes on this. Oh yeah, I'm not done there yet. Which I think is gonna be actually quite beneficial. The other thing to think about is, I lost my train of thought, shoot, I had somebody ask me what the pros and cons of maybe doing, I'm going to use Rendezvous as an example because we've got 4 programs for that one, in terms of what would be the benefit of me running Rendezvous the first week of June opposed to say the last week of June. And the things that I would say about that is, I think that if you're running Rendezvous 135 the first week of June, you have a little less time to build, which means you have a little less volume, and that you could essentially use the Rendezvous 135 almost like a training run for you. You would almost build into that if it makes sense. And for some people that might be appropriate because it might be better for you to actually spend less weeks at high volume. So depending on how your body's responding to that, you might want to just get it done. Okay. Other people might look at that and go, no, I want 2 more building blocks. I really want more time to build my endurance so I feel more prepared because my goal for Rendezvous is X, Y, Z. So hopefully that helps. One thing I'm going to focus on, which is a little out of my comfort zone, I feel like I've been procrastinating on this, but I'm going to hold myself accountable to, is I'm going to, with Trent's help, go out and do a bunch of technique videos for you guys. And the first one in particular is going to be downhill running. Because a lot of this vertical, a lot of people, when they hear they sign up for a race with 5,000 meters or 3,000 meters of vertical, most people mentally think about going uphill because uphill is such a mental, right? But what actually really tears your body down more and often will make or break, yeah, Nicole, is the downhill. And so I really want to put a lot of emphasis, this clinic in particular, on lots of technique, but in particular and early in on really, really honing in proper downhill running technique, okay? Because, and I want you guys to mentally start looking at your hills differently. Every time you guys go up this spring, it gives you an opportunity to condition those legs and get going on the downhill. And how many people here go, oh, you know, I climb fairly well, but I always get passed on the downhill. So we're gonna spend a little bit more time working on that. Wednesdays, there's a bit more zone 4 work. So again, I'll give you guys recommendations for those that are sort of just jumping into speed work. There's more intense vertical challenges. Those of you that were in the last clinic, we started off with a bit more hiking, kind of zone 3 vertical. Now we're gonna give her. We're gonna give her on the up and we're gonna give her on the down. So there'll be some options there. We've got some terrain management work on Wednesdays, and I'm considering still switching some things and popping in some time trials. So I want to see how some things go. I've got a few little magic tricks on the side that I'll implement those and provide some options to you guys as we sort of go. It gets a little bit tricky the last 3 weeks of the clinic because we're being so quote unquote customized. It does mean that we have people that are tapering, that are building, that are recovering, and it kind of goes a little bit like this near the end, but I feel like I have it under control, and we'll just have 800 workouts for you. And I'm kidding, I've got a plan for that, so it'll all be good. Obviously, there's a big endurance component. Hopefully, if, as I say that, something in you kind of sparks and the fear kind of melts away and you're excited about your endurance goals that you guys have ahead of you. And that is why the plans have a lot of running. You guys have events that require a lot of running, you're training, you need to do a lot of running. So it's going to take discipline. You guys are going to need to listen to your body, trust in your own efforts, and really not get sucked into what other people are doing or thinking that my buddy's doing this, or, oh my gosh, so-and-so went and did that and I only did this. Your goals, your way, for sure, for this spring. So my final notes tonight before we do a Q&A and a bit of a social chat is keep a training log. I really think those of you that are on Strava and some of these other platforms, they're really great, but I think they sort of make us a bit lazy. We just download our watches to them. We take a look, we give ourselves a pat on the back or I could do better or what have you. And then we look at 800 other people and what they're up to. And we're not really celebrating and soaking in what we're accomplishing and or what that means week to week. So it can be motivational. It helps keep you on track. It's really important for troubleshooting with injuries, overtraining, and write as much information into that training log as you can. You know, what shoes you wore, how you felt, what you ate, you got a little niggle, what you did about the little niggle, everything, okay? And then be proactive with self-maintenance. Don't wait until your hips are tight. Right now, I bet you if I asked every single one of you, each of you would say at least one body part that tends to get a little twingy or will rear its ugly head at some point when you're running. So be proactive about that and do not let up on it. And if you need to substitute your rehab for your Achilles that you know can be your real sucker and succotash instead of the hip mobility this week, you still earn your check mark. Okay, so this is the flexibility part of it. Be accountable for that. And then I'm also going to put a little more strength and a little more core work into this, into the video. So those of you that are looking for a little more quote unquote workout type work, you're going to see some of those videos coming out. So hopefully you guys will also enjoy some of that this spring. I feel like I really shot it at you there. I have no idea what time it is. We got about 10 minutes or so to go. Are there any questions? And you guys, please do not be embarrassed. We are not in high school. If you're thinking it, somebody else is thinking it, particularly new people that might be like, I didn't put the dots together. Let me know.
I have a question.
Garbage.
Real fresh. You're up.
Hey, you were talking about how the training program was matching the distance of the race, of a stage race. Can you just explain that again? I didn't quite understand.
Oh, like, you mean the, say it again?
Yeah, you said the cumulative time in your 3-week build was about equal to the stage race.
Yeah, so almost. So let's say, just for easy figuring, let's say that my stage race was going to take me 50 hours to run it. I would try to make sure that I'm at least getting over my 3-week build in those 3 weeks, around at least 35, maybe to 40K. So if I've been doing it for a while, I might even hit my 50K over 3 weeks. Okay, so the example would be, what is that? Three 15-hour weeks or something like that would be 45 hours over 3 weeks. And I don't think a lot of people think of their training like that. They just look at, oh, but this week I only did this many hours. And more importantly, I only ran 5 hours, but my race, what if my stage takes me 10? So that's where the back-to-back training and that accumulative fatigue, and not just the accumulative fatigue over that weekend, you guys, but the accumulative fatigue, again, over a 2-week or a 3-week build, because you're essentially stacking the hours of those weeks without really a tangible rest. A couple of days off, right? Does that make sense, Haley?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Ben, did you have your hand up?
I did. Yeah, I was more a comment than a question, just in reference to you saying document. Here, let me take my hand down now. Documenting your runs. I actually, over the winter, I found it hugely beneficial because at the end of it, you kind of tally up that week and that gives you better insight. You know, with Strava, I never would look back and be like, oh, I did 75K this week or whatever it was. So for me, that was a big piece because it kept me in line with trying to hit that target for vertical, for hours, and for distance. So for me, it was hugely beneficial.
Yeah, that's great. And for someone that wasn't doing any kind of manual logging prior to. That's really great feedback. I was wondering if my log was here. You guys would probably laugh if I had it here. Oh yeah, I do. Hang on. This is how the pros do it. They get a scrap piece of paper and then they keep all their weekly volumes like that from every single individual training. So then I look back and I can sort of see where I might have bumped up too much or not enough, or where I was. That's about it. Yeah, thanks, Ben. Nicole?
Yeah, so I've noticed on our back-to-back weekends, you have like 2 hours on Saturday and 4 hours on Sunday. Is it okay to reverse the two?
Yes. Now, the only thing, great question. Actually, I'm so glad you asked this. Yes, 100%. Again, how I kind of like I said in the beginning, you can rob Peter to pay Paul in the sense that you can move your days around, be flexible. Well, the main target that you're trying to get for your weekly volume. Keep in mind though, that if you switch the 2 and the 4, if it's a group run, and we are back group running, make sure you check the Google Calendar, because if it's a 4-hour run and you want to be part of the group run, you'll need to do your 4-hour run on that Sunday with us, because we might not have a 2-hour option.
Okay, I have another question.
Great.
So if we're doing the rendezvous the first week of June, so 1st through 6th, right?
Mhm.
And then we have a group run that's planned for Big White on the 6th. Can we use the Big White, or the Little White run for our last day of our rendezvous?
Yes, and Anthony actually reached out to me with a similar sort of question, and today, which was really helpful for me. My brain feels a bit full. I feel like some of these things will start to sort of clear it out as we go, but I think what I'll do is I can do better than that. I can probably give you guys exact distance and vertical for what that run will be. So providing you finish it, you guys can count on adding up those kilometers, and that because we've done that run quite a few times in the past. So I'll go back in the archives and I'll share that with you. But how much fun would that be? We could maybe even have a finish line, and don't even get me started. Yes.
Okay, but if that happens, Nicole, you have to promise to come on the runs at the end of the month with people who are doing it at the end of the month as well.
Absolutely. 100%.
Count me in. I'm longing to set up finish lines. So I'm your girl. I have my pom-poms that are so sad right now. Anybody else got any questions?
Renee, I have a question.
Okay.
So for those of us who are rolling over from a 25K group and planning to do rendezvous kind of distributed over the 6 days, 20 to 25K a day,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that the 25K training plan is sufficient to get us prepared to meet that goal?
Yeah.
Okay.
I definitely do.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, I think, just a little bit more on that, Jen. I think the reason that I wrote that, and I hope again what that kind of lands to you guys, and even the example I gave, the exact same race that I did the first year of Transalpine, my longest 1 week build. I did 1 week of 14 hours. Not one other week was more than that. And now how I train, and I finished strong. I had a great year, my first year. And then I've continued to go on and have multiple, 15 to 16 to 18 to 20 weeks back to back, and I've still finished strong. So depending on what your goal is, the reason I did that is because I know that a lot of you have other interests and families and workloads, and you do sort of need to consider, of course, that not that more volume is always better, but that it is tangible. Yeah. And maybe even more appropriate for some people, for sure. Yeah. Anybody else? I'm going to flip to page 2 and see who's over here. Look at all these faces over here. Any other questions over here on training or the clinic?
Would you put a plan in play if someone wants to do 50 or 25K and just wants to drink beer and eat pizza?
It wouldn't be a whole lot different.
Thanks.
Volume's volume, right? You're not
asking for a friend.
You're not going to go. What's that, Jake?
He's asking for a friend.
Oh yeah, and for a good pizza referral.
Yeah.
Yeah, it actually wouldn't be a whole lot different. That's funny. You might hurt a little bit differently afterwards, but that depends on the runner, I guess. Is anybody thinking of that? Does anyone out care to share that is doing the Rendezvous, the 135K? Are you guys thinking of cracking that sucker out over a couple days? Like 2 days or less?
Tom and I have been chatting. I think we're going to be looking at as for goat training and trying to do like basically a goat within that block. And so do like set it up for a 12, a 55, and then a 25, and then we'll have to piggyback some other distance on there to get to the 135. But
nice, that sounds fun.
I've heard some rumors of some fast packing, and there's looks to be some pretty creative routes that people have put together from say Vernon down to Naramata and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what people do.
Yeah, I've heard about that too. That's fun. Awesome. Okay, if there's no more questions, I would love for some of the new people or out of town people or anybody that wants to sort of introduce, if you're coming back to the clinic and you want to share what some of your highlights are, if anybody wants to share. I know it's kind of a get the gumption up and feel a bit vulnerable, but it would be really nice to hear from anybody that wants to introduce themselves or share what some of your goals are this clinic. Yeah, I'll just sort of leave it open. Are all the new people shy? I've never heard Jade be more quiet. I was just joshing. Patricia, how about you? You had a big ski season. Have you been running much or snowshoeing your face off or?
Yeah, a bit of both. Yeah, just coming off skiing and had an unfortunate little incident standing. So I'm out for hopefully not long, but I'm excited to get back into running. So yeah, looking forward to looking at the plans to kind of build for my goals.
Nice.
But yeah, lots and lots of skiing, lots of snowshoeing this winter.
I know.
Doing a little bit of running.
I followed you. I know all that vertical is going to pay off, even if you have a couple of weeks off here as you sort of rehab. But on that note, I'm also going to the other programs. You guys are going to get lost in programs, but the other programs I'm going to put back up there is if there's anybody that is transitioning off of a winter of more skiing or more biking, or like I said, an injury, the base building programs that we followed in the winter clinic were really good, really magical programs. And there would be really good baselines to sort of start back into again. So I'm going to pop those up. So Patricia, you can take a look at those.
Yeah, that's perfect. I was going to actually reach out to you about that, just with you know what my goals are this year. So
sure do.
Yeah, so just to kind of bridge the gap and get back into things. Yeah.
Yeah, you bet. Awesome.
Renee, it's Natalie.
Hi, Natalie.
Can I ask you a question that sort of involves biking a bit?
Sure.
It might not be the right place, but okay, so I've been doing quite a bit of biking.
Okay.
I've been doing, what I'm struggling with right now is the amount of intervals and speed and strength with biking, and then still trying to do it with the running. Should I just alternate, do my speed and strength on the bike one week and then the next week do my speed and strength running? Because I'm just getting tired.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. What I was going to say is just do one or the other. I feel like biking translates a little more nicely over to running than running does to biking. So I would be curious to see if you have, we sometimes talk about having an A goal and a B goal and a C goal. And sometimes we want everything to be an A goal. We just want all the A's and all the land, but it sometimes can overwhelm us. So if you know if your running goals or your biking goals are more important, depending where they're situated, or if you have a running event coming up, you might transition, 6 weeks before that, do a little bit more of the running. And then if you've got a biking event, maybe be a bit more specific on the biking speed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. It's like my first event, it's the Broken Goat. So it's not, it's a long ways away still. But yeah, no, I was just sort of trying to do both. And I just found, because as the biking's it's increasing, but so is the running. So
yeah, and like I said, if you're having a hard time recovering, you guys, if anybody's having a hard time recovering from a workout, it usually means that there is something not appropriate about that, whether it was the volume or too intense for where you're currently at. So the idea isn't that these speed workouts should waste you. Now, again, I'm speaking generally because I know people are at different phases in their training, but those that have maybe done the base training, you're going to maybe feel a little bit differently how you recover from some of those. Those of you that are using the spring clinic to get back into your base and back into running, you just need to sort of be prepared for the first probably 4 to 6 weeks to feel a bit more tired. And I talked about that. When you're doing a proper base training, you're usually a little too tired to ever really feel like your best. So yeah, like, and again, depending on the timing of your goal and the volume of your goal, maybe the speed work, I know it might sound a bit silly, but maybe you're doing less of that this spring.
Okay, yeah.
Awesome.
Good, thanks.
You're welcome.
Hey, Renee, I might as well ask a question. So if someone is, say, coming back from an injury, i.e. Me, and they've got the high five as their goal, and they looked at the program when you sent it out yesterday and realized, oh my God, this Sunday I have to run 4 hours and I haven't run over 2 hours in like 2 months.
Yeah.
What should we do? Should we maybe do like 2 hours on Saturday and Sunday, or what's the best way to get into that program?
Yeah, so like I said, I wouldn't try to fit you into the program. And I think this is where the homework right now for everybody, every single one of you, even if you did the winter clinic, is to know exactly where you are at today. What is your long run at? What is your, how many hours, how many days a week are you running? What is your volume of running? And there's 800 different ways to get to where you want to go. I, as much as I say, joke, I'm going to write 800 programs, I'm not going to write 800 programs. But that said, the programs that I focused on, it doesn't mean, Cam, that's appropriate for you. The other thing that's really hard, and I know there's other people that have had injuries over the winter, or that maybe are starting off the clinic that way, is that I'm not saying that you have to give up on your goals, but the most important goal is getting your body to feel good again, and no race will do that for you. And if you push harder or exceed harder to try to excel over your injury to get to that place, it might potentially make it worse, or you might end up still staying in that spiral. So I'm not saying that's the case for you, Cam, but I think that you're probably better off to establish where you're currently at right now. Send me an email, and then let's talk about how we can make some adaptations to that high five. And I don't want to say if it's realistic, but if it's realistic. Does that make sense? That's probably not the answer you wanted, but it's for me as a coach, your well-being and everybody's well-being, and being able to wake up every morning and do what you guys love is more. Races come and go. And I'm a race director, and I appreciate everybody that signed up for my races. And I'm not trying to minimize the value in that and the motivation and everything, but they do come and go out of our life. And the reason that we sign up for races is because we love to run, and because we love it when our bodies feel strong and they feel good, and they allow us to go to the places and be with the people and have the experiences that we want. So that would be my number one goal for you, Cam. So why don't you send me where your base is at, and let's teeter-totter that high five and see where we can get you. I'm pretty confident. Yeah. I just love you all so much, especially when you're so talkative.
Jade's got her hand up.
Yeah, was there a hand? Oh yeah, hi.
Hi. I don't know if this has happened to anyone else, but every now and then in between runs, I'm like, I should lift some weights. And then I do a strength workout, and then I can't walk for a couple days. Damn Peloton app. I'm wondering what suggestions you have for mixing in strength training. Like, when's the best time of the week if we want to try to do like a HIIT workout, or like, should we not, knowing that we've got big race goals coming up? Because I've definitely like missed a run or two this last clinic because I couldn't walk.
Yeah, really good question, Dave. I think strength training should almost replace a run if you needed to. That's how important I think it is, because that is your injury prevention, providing you're doing, I want to say the right kind of strength, but there's all sorts of different kinds of strength training, right? So it has to be appropriate to still complement your goals. The biggest thing is what you just called it. It's a strength workout. So strength workouts require what? We usually follow a speed workout, or a hill workout. We don't go and do something hard again the next day. We usually follow that up with a recovery run. 60 minutes or less. We get blood flow going, which is why you probably see it in the program. You won't see recovery runs that are over 90 minutes. Usually easy runs are around 90 and recoveries are sometimes even 20 or 30 minutes because that's all you need to recover your body. So what I usually say is if you're just starting a strength training program, whether it's an app or what have you, is do 50% less than you think you should the first time. And depending how you feel, not the next day, but 2 days later, base your next strength session on how much you add based on how you're feeling. If you were knackered at 50% of that workout, then you're probably just, bumping back even more. So that's kind of, you need to establish a baseline before you get too excited and you jump into that. The other thing I really feel like is a lot of people think, well, it's my off day. I'm not running today, so I might as well throw down a HIIT workout on my app. But what happens again is if you just did a long run, or you just did a progression, or you just did a speed session, and then just because you're not running that next day, you go and do a strength workout, you've now piled on intensity and stress on an already fatigued and run down body that's asking for recovery, and we only get stronger when we recover. So I'm rambling again, sorry. Trent usually is here and does this to get me going. Is Wednesday would be a great day for that. Wake up in the morning, commit to doing your workout, your strength workout in the morning, and your run right after or in the evening. So you can do a double day. But the nice thing about that is that's your strength day. So the next day you're doing your recovery workout, you're focusing on blood flow. It's a super chill, easy run. It might even be more of a hike. You got one more day before your weekend, that type of thing.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah, really good question. Anybody else?
Hello, I've got a couple questions. Okay. I signed in late, so I might have missed a little bit.
I did record
so
it.
I know
anybody that wants to miss anything in the meeting, you can see. But sorry, that was, I think, my fault. I had the link stuff wrong. If that was me, I apologize.
Well, no, it was me this time, but yeah. So I know group runs are on hold, and I'm confused. Like there's weekend group runs which are going to be organized on the Google Calendar or on the Accountability Excel, and then there's the Wednesday workout group.
Yeah, so all group runs are on hold right now until the provincial headquarters changes. But the Wednesdays, I just thought we haven't been doing any training because of the group size. Well, we did a little bit last year, but what I thought was, you know what, 1 or 2 per group sessions are better than no sessions. And I'm dying to ring my cowbell and see you guys all in action. So I thought what I would do is I would apply those of you that are in town, groups of 7 to 9 with me would be 10, and just put you on a Wednesday. And that Wednesday, at least you get some in-person coaching. But it wouldn't be necessarily the same group that you're going to run with on Sunday when we get together, because that's based on, I mean, on Wednesday, you could be doing 20 different workouts. Cool, I'm there. I'm gonna support you. We're gonna, on my whiteboard, we're gonna talk about what we're doing, what we're adapting. You guys can go in 800 different directions, but on Sundays, I would need to make sure that those that are following this plan and this espresso or this latte or are here, and that this, so the weekend run group would look different than the Wednesday.
So those A, B, C, D groups are meant for Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those are all on hold right now too.
They are. Sorry.
Yeah. 3 weeks. We can do it.
We can go do this. Yeah.
And the other question, like, so a recovery run, if I'm just like, I just hate running, I don't want to run anymore, but I'm training for high 5, but I just love hiking up Knox. Like, is that too much intensity to hike up Knox for a recovery?
Well, it depends on your effort.
Right. So if I kept it heart rate low, so is that a good, is that like, which would be better for preparing for high 5? Because I'll just do whatever you tell me.
Cynthia, honestly, time on your feet is better.
Okay. So if I really just not feeling motivated to run 30 minutes, but I'm quite happy to hike up Knox, I can hike up Knox.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think if it's purposeful, right? You're focusing still on getting your vertical. If you felt something, what you might find is you might even feel that by just getting out there and getting started, because mentally you said, I can walk up this thing. I don't have to run one step if I don't want to. Time on my feet is what the coach said. By the time you get to the top of Knox, you might be like, I feel pretty good. I'm going to jog down this. Hey, down goes my thing. We're focusing on that. I feel pretty good. I'm warmed up.
Right.
And then maybe-
Because it's recovery, just keep it light.
That's right. Totally.
Okay.
If anybody
And
needs,
if I'm feeling like completely exhausted, then just like stick to the flats.
yeah, or I mean, this is the tricky part, right? I mean, like, what is I'm tired and I should still go out and try and build my endurance because, you know, I need to spend time on tired legs, and what is I'm tired, and if I go out and repeatedly I'm feeling tired and I'm feeling tired and I'm feeling tired and I'm feeling tired, there could be something else going on. There are going to be times where you're going to feel tired, you guys, and you need to go, and that's where you need to adapt and maybe hike up Knox, or at least give yourself, you know, 15-20 minutes to get started and see if you can salvage some time on your feet. But there is a fine line before where you need to recognize it shouldn't feel like that all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Great. Thanks.
Yeah, good questions. Anybody else? No? Are we good? Okay. Well, thanks, you guys. I really appreciate you guys making time. Hopefully there was a few nuggets that you walked away with. We look forward to socializing with everybody, hopefully online, those of you that are on Facebook. And some of the new people, we're going to draw you out of your shell, whether you like it or not. I'm just joking. But we will we'll check you guys out online. And if you guys need anything, please reach out to me. And I'm really working hard this week again, just to sort of get everything up to speed. I'll add those extra programs, but if there's anything else, be my ears and eyes. Let me know if I can do better, if there's something else you guys need, and let's make it happen. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Thanks. Bye.
Great. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Renee.
Thanks.
See who's sticking around. Oh, everybody's gone.
Alex, Ryan, you guys want to chat?
I'm still here.
Hey,
What's
how's it
happening?
going?
Hey, Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
What's happening?
Now he shows his face.
Are all the kids in bed?
Hi, Alex.
Yeah,
No.
I was listening, but I was also working, so.
You guys are good multitaskers.
You have
Alex,
new glasses?
No, not really. I've had them for a year or so, I think.
Alex, how are your kids feeling?
Actually, my son has another cold, so that's
Oh.
very exciting. I know. So we went and got the test today, and we'll find out.
Oh, I hope he's okay.
Yeah, aren't you glad you didn't run with me last weekend, though?
Oh, we're so socially distanced, it wouldn't have actually worried. I feel like everybody's so good at pace. Like, not that I'm encouraged, but honestly, I think everybody is, I feel fine outside, and I feel like everyone's really good with buffing up and keeping their distance. I just feel like it's kind of funny because you are so independent, and I privately love and get inspired watching where you go. And I love the history that you shared in the past. And I feel like every time you go out, you really like connect with where you are. It's kind of like but at the same time, I'm like, gosh, like there's been a couple group runs. We've only had a few of them, and you've had to miss them. So I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's just been like, I have two little kids, they're both in daycare, so they're always going to be sick. One of them is always going to be sick.
Yeah.
It's inevitable.
It's inevitable. Yeah. You had a good clinic though. You're running strong. Are you feeling good?
Yeah, I feel really good. I'm having major FOMO over not doing the 135, but I just can't imagine being able to take that much time out. Like but I'm really jealous of everybody else. So.
Well, you know what? I have no doubt you'd be really good at that distance too. But there's a time for everything. I mean, when our son was younger, I wasn't doing a 135. Not that it matters, but I mean, honestly, I feel like there's a time for those things, and it's not to discount how awesome your training is and the targets that you're hitting right now too, right? So, but yeah, I know
Totally.
it is. I know that feeling when everybody's kind of, and actually not everybody is, but tonight I ended up focusing maybe a little bit more on that. So
Yeah, I signed up under peer pressure.
you did.
I don't think I've told Jen either, so.
Oh man.
She knows now.
And
she's
she
looking at
knows
you.
now. She's in the room. No, she definitely did just look at me.
She's probably not surprised, Ryan. She knows you. She's like, oh yeah, that's funny.
I mean, it's not on her birthday this year, so that's a bonus, right?
Oh no, that's funny.
Alex, I gotta say, this is inspired by your beautiful.
Thought it might be. I didn't want to like presume. But
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I mean, well, it's actually like every spring I generally do the stash, and then I'll do the summer. But
It's a good stash. I like it. I like it. It's a classic Chevron, I think. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's really good.
It's pretty.
Need some aviators.
Otherwise known as the classic Celic.
Yeah.
Nice.
Magnum PI.
My dad's been sending every Thursday these like throwback Thursdays, and like they're pictures of us growing up. Like he's pulling them out of the archives, like from his old films, and like developing them. And then, anyways, and they're it's my favorite day of the week. I can't wait. But my dad, ask Trent, my dad had the most, I might even text you guys later tonight, the most impressive mustache and beard combo. Like it was legit. I'm sure back in the day, I don't know what it was, but I look at it now and I'm like, man, it was impressive. Just like you fellas. Hey,
The best one was when Steve took a black and white of your dad and superimposed it into the Guess Who. I think as Burton Cummings with the big massive mustache. I thought that was classic.
Yeah, that's a classic Steve move.
Amazing. Well, listen, I gotta go, but thanks for putting it on tonight. That was very interesting.
Yeah, thanks for all your support. We're looking forward to this spring, hopefully getting back out there together. But yeah, let me know if I can be supportive, Alex. Okay,
Thanks a lot.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
all right, cool cats. I'm gonna roll too.
Are you out of there?
See you guys.
Okay. I guess Ryan and I'll have to go too then.
Let's get out and
All right.
ride sometime, Ryan.
Yeah, I went for my first ride on Saturday, hit Knox.
What'd you do? Oh, mountain.
See you, Ben.
Yeah, I hit it after, it was like 5 o'clock. It was dead. There was like
Yeah.
not a soul on the mountain. And then I ran into Peter and Jeff raking.
Oh yeah, nice. That's awesome.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah, cool. We'll have to ride down and meet you one night. And Jen on her gravel. You guys got to get a sitter.
Break that
Yep.
gravel bike out.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I need help encouraging that.
Okay, I'm on it. Yeah, it'd be fun. I love that girl. Okay.
All right.
Have a good night.
All right.
Okay, take it
Yeah,
easy.
you too.
Bye.
Talk to you
Have a
soon.
good night, Ryan. See ya.